Right, how are we doing, everybody? Can we hear me okay? Can we see me okay? We're using a different thing. I've never used this before. So everything's a little bit alien to me, I'll be honest with you. But you know what? We're going to make it work. It's going to be absolutely fine, I'm sure. Hope everyone's doing well. Get in the comments. We haven't done one of these for ages. All right, there we go. I can see all your beautiful. I should be able to see all your beautiful comments now. Yeah, there we go. Whee, look at that. Who's here already? Jamie, how you doing? Keep excited for the podcast today. 5 wins on the bounce, mate. It's been absolutely amazing, hasn't it? It's been proper. Sativa, Neil, how you doing? You good? Dragos, here he is. Been a long time, guys. It's been a very long time. Can hear me okay and see me okay. That's good then, isn't it? We've got a lot to do today. We've got a jam-packed show. We've been away for a while. Why have we been away? I think I should explain that first. Basically, I moved into a new house and there was a lot of issues with getting the internet sorted and everything. And I just didn't want to just do half-assed videos with the lads, to be fair. Then I started doing normally. So if you haven't seen our content, go on our YouTube. We've been doing really, really decent on there at the moment. It's got a load going on at the moment. So that's good. But then the thing that we used, which was called StreamYard, was like 50. It went up by like £40. And I was like, we can't afford this. This is ridiculous. And I've just been trying to find an alternative for the longest time. We've actually finally found one. And it's class. We love it. So thank you to Restream, which is really, this is what we're using. And yeah, it's all working really nicely. So that's a really, really, really positive thing. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's good. We're doing well in the Premier League at the moment. We're going to talk about all the games that we've missed because let's be honest, there's quite a few of them. And then yeah, so I think we should get the panel in though. There's a couple of lads waiting. You might know him. You might know him. One of them is the wonderful bearded man of Daniel Cottingham. How are we doing,
All
mate?
right. I'm all right. You're all right.
Real good. Gotta have a couple of Dans in here, are you?
Yeah, with hats, Dan's with hats.
Dans with hats. And then, of course, we've also got John. How you doing, John?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Glad to be back. I haven't worn I had my hat on and then I took it off and then I saw you.
He's disappointed, everybody, with
I'm really
the lack of hat.
I'm not going to get the hat in a sec.
Not good enough, really. I'll let you off. But yeah, we haven't been doing this for a while. Really, really excited to be doing it. Please go and follow us on various platforms. We've also got our Twitter back as well, /X. So big round of applause for that. Whee! Only took how long? 6 months?
Well, I said 6 months. It's about 5 really, but
sheer panic it was, wasn't it? When it came up and it said that we'd been banned, we were like, what the hell? And we've just been trying for the longest time to get it back. And we just haven't been able to do it. And lo and behold, this morning, which was always going to be stream day today, it unlocked. So if you're over on X at the moment, you're also here as well, which is absolutely amazing. It's lovely how it works, isn't it? But yeah, let's get into some football matches because we've missed quite a few, haven't we?
We have.
So I'm just going to hide the chat real quick. There we go. Just us now, lads. Just us. And then I'm going to share the screen so we can see all of the wonderful matches that we've missed. Where are we? Picture in picture. There we go. And then let's move us to the top. Can you tell I've never done this before? Can you tell? Is it
seamless.
obvious?
Absolutely seamless.
Is it obvious yet?
Yeah, move it up and down. Move it up and down a bit more. That's it.
Shut up. Shut up, man. There we go. And then this needs to go down. Hey. Easy. Don't let me do it again. Right. And then we are going to be talking about the games since the last stream, and there's been a bloody lot. The last game we talked about on stream was the Arsenal game where we lost 1-0. quite a close game. And then the very next game, we beat Aston Villa 2-0. Absolute result. Obviously, these games are from a bit ago. So, you know what? We might have forgot a few things. But I'll tell you what I didn't forget. Beating Villa 2-0 at home. What a time. John, do you remember this game, sir?
I do. I was actually there at the Molineux. I had to try and get a train, so I was just about walking out, and then at last minute I ran back because I could see on the screen Cunha was running pretty much one-on-one, wasn't he? And I managed to get straight back out again to watch it. But I just remember that finish. It was an awesome goal. And the first one as well, early goal with Bellegarde. There was just a real good factor in the stadium. I know we'd previously lost against Arsenal, but it felt like we'd played quite well against Arsenal, and it didn't feel too much like a bad loss at the time because they were so high up in the table and we tried so hard. I just felt when we played Villa, they'd just come out of a European game, and I know a few mates that are Villa fans, so we don't get on very well. But they were basically saying after a European game, Villa kind of struggle a little bit in the Prem, usually the game after. So I'd kind of been warned that Wolves may be able to do something in this game due to that hangover. And we performed really well, and Cunha really showing his quality with that goal. And it was fantastic. And I just remember after that game just celebrating, because you have to celebrate a win against the Villa. They don't come that often, so you've got to celebrate them. But it was a really good game, really good result, and I wound up a lot of Villa fans with that one.
To be fair, I thought we might. I don't know what it was. I just had a feeling that we might do well against Villa because they were flying in the various competitions, but I wasn't sure whether they'd be able to obviously do well in the Premier League at the same time. They always struggle at Molineux. So I thought, a nice little result here would be lovely. And lo and behold, we got one. And I tell you what was quite surprising in this one was Bellegarde, wasn't it? Because Bellegarde ended up scoring a goal. And this is where really, I mean, he did get injured apparently, but this is where really you started to see Bellegarde play well again under Vitor Pereira, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a point now that where he started shining, and we're like, Bellegarde's actually a decent player, whereas before there was a lot of people writing him off. Didn't really think he had much of a future, but he was great in this game, and ever since he's been really good, hasn't he? Up to the point where he's been injured.
Yeah, cool. So that was a good result. We then played. Who did we get after that? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to get it up. Right. I know it's one page before this. There we go. So we did the Blackburn game. We didn't have to really talk about that one.
No.
We lost against Liverpool away. Do you remember that one, Dan?
Not really, I'll be honest.
Shall we see how we lined up? See if it starts to come up to I know Cunha scored a bit of a banger, didn't he?
Yeah,
like right at the end.
Yeah.
And it was quite an even game, if I remember right.
I remember Jota's dive where Agbadou pulled out of it and Jota dived. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
that
right.
was bad. That was.
I remember Twitter having a meltdown with people all around, neutrals all around the country, saying, "Wow, Wolves are actually doing amazing here against Liverpool, and our midfield was playing that well that they just couldn't cope." And the first time in a long
stats, like literally, we were pretty much on top of them towards the end of the game. We could have got something from this game if I remember right, because I think Cunha scored and we were a bit on the ascendancy. I think Anfield started panicking, didn't they? When once he'd scored that goal.
Yeah, 100%. We definitely got back in the game, and that was when people will start saying, actually, you can see now that Wolves have really, because at the time we were quite low in the table, and Ipswich were around us, and that's when people were saying, well, actually, Wolves look like they've got enough here to stay up, that they're controlling games.
What was quite interesting is the fact, like you've seen now, Andre and João Gomez in this midfield, and it really hasn't shifted ever since, has it?
No.
You know, we started playing Doc here as well.
Yeah.
And if you look, really, this shape hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed from this shape is the 10s have gone further backwards, so they're not necessarily wingers. and it's allowed them a little bit more freedom on the side. So it's interesting looking back and looking at the fact their formation of where it was, obviously, when we started to look better as a team and where we are now.
Yeah.
So was there anything else you lads want to add on to that Liverpool game? Because I can't remember it all too well.
I can't remember. I just remember watching it with a Liverpool fan, and he was like, he had to walk off in the end because he thought we were going to bring it back.
Yeah. It wasn't. Go on, Joe. Sorry, Dan.
Sorry, this was Agbadu's first game in the centre, wasn't it? This was.
Oh, was it? Okay.
He started at Blackburn, but he was on the left, wasn't he? I believe.
Mm.
And then for this, I'm sure he's in the centre, which I think was the start of us, starting to look better at the back. Personally,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're probably right, wasn't it? Because didn't he play him out wide at first?
Yeah, and he was a bit shaky against Blackburn. He was a bit like against Blackburn. He was a bit shaky, wasn't he? But he was all right. He's still good. But I mean, then Liverpool's in the centre. It was.
Well, I saw a video about Agbadu recently, and they said that apparently he's he can play with either foot, which I didn't know actually. I thought he was efficient on one foot, but apparently he can play with either foot, which is bloody rare, really, in a centre back. So
yeah, definitely.
And you've seen that really. He's just comfortable in that middle position.
It
so the
worries
next
me
game,
sometimes because he can get too comfortable, and you're like, shit.
Oh,
like,
God.
he makes it look too easy, and then like now and again makes a rare mistake, and you're like, oh no.
So the next game was the Bournemouth game away, which we ended up winning 1-0. Cunha scoring again. They got a red card, didn't they? Which kind of changed the game, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So I remember it being quite dicey until then. And then they got a red card, and it sort of changed everything, didn't it?
It was talked about, wasn't it? Because it was, where was the intent? But the fact is that, your foot came over the ball, and if it connected, we could have broken his leg, and that's the way it was a red, wasn't it? Essentially.
Yeah.
So,
it was like one of them where I think a couple of them happened because there wasn't the one against Arsenal as well.
Yes.
Further.
Skelly, wasn't it? Was that a Skelly?
Yeah. So I think a couple of these happened where they were like, "Oh, we're quite sure about that one," but it ended up being a massive win, didn't it? This one, because I think
your goal was fantastic.
Yeah, because Bournemouth were doing really well at the time as well. So actually being able to get a win away, it showed that this team was still up for the fight, wasn't it? Really, because I think we were still sort of struggling at that point in the table, sort of like not still quite so sure. So this was one of those games. Really, I thought we played Manetzi as a 9 in this one, which is quite interesting.
8.1 rating as well on that. I mean, he's been one of my favourite players of this part of the season. He's absolutely. I didn't get him at first, but then when you watch him, he never stops running. Literally, his shirt is sopping within about 90 minutes. He's running down the pitch. He's absolutely is the opposite of everything Cunha is to me. He makes things happen without the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I mean, we'll talk about players in general in a bit, but I think it is worth bringing up a player like Manetzi because he doesn't get many plaudits, does he, from us? No. But I think it's just because he offers something that gets a bit unheard really on a pitch. So I think on a pitch you either score goals or you defend goals, and then everything else that goes on in between, a lot of it you just kind of take for granted. But all of the stuff he does well, he's taken for granted. All right, so after that, unfortunately, we lose at home to Fulham. Ryan Sessegnon scores in 1 minute. I remember this. I remember the goal going in and thinking, "Oh bloody hell, it's going to be one of them games, isn't it?" João Gomez scores just not too much longer after that. It goes into half time, 1-1, and you're thinking, "Oh, something could happen here." And then Muniz gets a goal literally straight after the second half. Literally straight after the first half, straight after the second half.
Both those goals took the wind out the sails. Just literally, they flattened the atmosphere. It was dead the whole game. Just after those two shots, it was really hard to get back after that, I think.
Yeah, it was a tricky one. I think Fulham looked really on form on this one, didn't they, John?
Yeah, I remember just thinking after the manager has got Fulham really well drilled here. Like defensively, they knew exactly what they were doing. They kind of just dragged the game out. I did think well done to the manager and the players because They kept us at arm's reach, and even though we tried to get back in the game, that they were just too good at the time. And I think we had confidence, but not the confidence we have now. We were still in the back of our mind. Ipswich behind us, potential to go down. I don't think we were fully there mentally as we are now. So yeah, and it was just another game that got away with us at the point.
I think it's quite interesting as well. I've just been looking. This is the first time we played a 3-4-2-1, and it was to match Marco Silva. So can we thank Marco Silva for the fact that we stayed with this position for this formation throughout the rest of the season? It's kind of mad, isn't it? Really, when you think
Yeah,
of it.
it is, yeah.
Because we always think it's some sort of tactical brilliance, but for me, I think he was trying to match them because he wasn't quite so sure on the personnel. And obviously, it's worked really well ever since, hasn't it? This formation. So thanks, Marco. What a legend. But yeah, I mean, that game we lost it, but I think Molineux wasn't all that bothered, if I remember. I think we started thinking, you know what, it's a game where Fulham were kind of doing well at the time, and we were just wanting to beat the teams around us, weren't we?
Yeah.
So I think we kind of took the L and thought, you know what, it is what it is. But after that, doing really well here, by the way, lads. Good job so far. Because I was thinking, bloody hell, there's a lot of matches here, but we're doing really, really well. Shall we talk about that FA Cup game?
I still have nightmares about that game.
That was a bad game, weren't it? Should we just skip that and stay on Premier League?
Yeah. No one wants to talk about that game.
This is a much better game. So Everton at home, and we ended up getting a point. And I remember this being a good point because at the start of the season, you think, well, yeah, we should be getting 3 points here. But I think Everton under Moyes
weren't they winning everything? Were they unbeaten at that point? If I remember correctly,
they were doing so well.
That Beto was scoring everything, wasn't he, at that point?
Yeah.
And if you can see, we stuck with a 3-4-2 here. We 3-4-2-1. So he must have saw something in that game against Fulham and thought, you know what, that system. Although we lost the game, he must have saw something in training after that and thought, yeah, we're going to stick with that.
Look at the ratings of Bellegarde and Venezia as well. You know, they're obviously finding some form there, aren't they? You know.
Bellegarde falling into here was so much better because it meant that he could help out in the midfield where he flourishes really well, and I think he's got a lot more pace than people give him credit for. I think this was the moment where we were still umming and ahhing about Strand Larsen, but things changed drastically after a few more games, so that was good. But yeah, Munetsi scores in this game as well, which was nice. It was a nice little goal, nice team goal. I remember that one. Really, really good passage of play. So it was nice to see Munetsi get on the score sheet. And it was nice as well because they'd already scored. And I thought it was going to be one of them, really, where it was going to be really tough to get past an Everton defence. Because Branthwaite and Tarkowski at this point in the season were absolutely just lapping up defensive. They were just unstoppable. So yeah, I was really, really proud of the lads, to be fair, to get something from this game, and I actually come away with this as a point earned. I don't know about you, lads.
Yeah, it was a point that felt like a win to me. A bit like Brighton earlier in the season. That was a point that felt like a win.
Definitely. You agree with that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Always a hard. Well, not always, but under the manager Moyes, it was always a hard game to go up against him.
I mean, they outplayed us, really. If you look at the stats, they outplayed us. So it's probably a good thing that we got at least a point out of it. So
yeah, they've got some players that were at that point really in form, and we held them back to a draw. And it was definitely a game where at that point we were scraping everything we could get because we were so up against Ipswich. So definitely felt like a win. Even though it was a draw, it felt like a win just getting that point because everyone had written us off.
I think this is a really pivotal game to talk about. So a few games after that Everton game, we've talked about all the ones that were a little bit meh, you know, still can't quite see it being a complete certainty that we're going to survive. And there was a few games after where, without Cunha, by the way, which is our so-called best player, Wolves just looked like a different team in this new formation. With Agbadou being as good as he has been in the middle, ironically got a 6.8 in this one. I don't agree with that, to be honest. I don't think of a game the way he's gone anywhere under a 7. But Strand Larson really started to pick it up, and so did Bellegarde as well. Bellegarde 2 assists, Strand Larson 2 goals. What a game this was. Do you remember this one, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought you knock a cross into a 6'4" striker and you head it in? Who'd have thought that? Do you know what I
No.
mean? But his
Yeah.
that header was fantastic. The movement before it was just that's what he should be doing, is it? That is Strand Larson.
Yeah.
He's one of these players that doesn't take many shots, but generally scores when he does.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. I think when we played these guys earlier in the season, we made them look really good, and I was worried for this match because I thought they'd have us. But yeah, just Bellegarde again. Look at that. Manetzi running. I think it was a really important win and really, really felt good. This one did.
Yeah. It felt like we sort of started doing the impossible, which was beating teams around us. Because I remember Wolves just beat every single season, every single time we played teams around us, we always seem to struggle. And under Vitor, it's like he's got so much confidence in the team that it just never seems a possibility that we'd even not get a point at least from this game.
No.
Which is a really good place to be in, really, considering how much we've been struggling this season. He's really turned things around. And I remember this game being the one where I was like, okay, I get it, man. Like, this team's still fighting. It's still, they're still very much in it, which was amazing. Anything else happen in this game that was sort of worth
I
talking
thought,
about?
for me, even though we won it, I thought it was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. There was points at the end where I thought, Christ, Southampton could get a draw here.
Yeah, because they scored in the 75th minute.
They brought that giant guy on, didn't they? And he scored. He's a real. He can shift as well. He's a big guy. He's a worry. He is definitely.
He proper worried me. He did, and even though the front three, it was the Strand Larson show, and the others, Bellegarde, Manetzi, were fantastic. I think there was a few players that were a little bit under par, which I think put us on pressure a little bit. I think it was maybe the fullbacks, and I think the midfielders were good, but there was just certain aspects of the game where Southampton kept on getting back in it. But then it just felt like a massive 3 points after, because it was a bit nervy, especially when they got that goal. But yeah, after full-time whistle, really good 3 points, and I was really proud of the performance. Because sometimes you have off games, and it's all about just getting through them and being the manager, the tactics, and defensively sound, and we got through it and got the 3 points.
I think this was a massive game, this win against West Ham, because I know West Ham was struggling, but they've had our number a lot, like a lot of the times where we've played West Ham, they've had our number quite a lot, and this was a big win, and I remember this being not just a big win, but this is where I saw our defense just absolutely just take the piss, to be honest. Like, nothing was coming through him. I mean, Matt Doherty gets an 8.2. I remember us all just being like, wow, like, they can't get through us. They looked terrible. West Ham, it looked like we just gave him the ball and they just didn't know what to do with it.
It's nice of Kilman to give us an assist as well off his boot. That was a nice one.
I remember that. Yeah, good goal though. To be fair, because it was really well worked, wasn't it? Wasn't a lot of it about Manetzi's movement, and wasn't Vitor talking about that as well after?
Yeah,
we sort of talking about it, wasn't he? Saying like, I owe a lot of this towards Manetzi, and this is where I think Wolves fans started to sort of start to see what he was doing off the ball, which is quite interesting because he's been doing it for quite some time, really. If you think about the games we've already talked about. So yeah, and I mean Agbadou, I honestly think he's one of the signings of the season. Man. I know he's not going to get that because it's Wolves, but if he was in any other team, like a top 6 side, the accolades he'd be getting now is.
It's like you said, Dan. It's like you said. Is there a better centre back in the Premier League than him right now?
I don't think there is.
I can't. He's absolute Rolls Royce for a player. Honestly, he's unbelievable. He's so calm on the ball.
Everyone was mentioning about his passing, but I mean, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna see if I can find his pass range.
I mean, ain't that bad? Surely.
I'm getting it up because he's definitely incredibly a lot better than people are making out. His accurate passes is 89% this season so far.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And the thing with them is they're generally forward, which is what we don't normally have. Normally we go sideways, but he generally fires them forward, doesn't he?
Yeah.
you know.
He's got 89%. I actually think that's more than most of the defenders we've had for a long time. Cody's probably the only one I know that can ping a ball as good as him. I think Doherty has done really well as well on that one side, pinging balls as a diagonal. But yeah, I mean, this was a much better performance from Wolves defensively, and I think really that's something that we genuinely had to change. And this was one of those games where I just couldn't see West Ham scoring. I honestly couldn't. Like
You
Ferguson
say
had
that
one of
though,
the
but I
worst.
think there was one point where was it Susek missed. There was the only point where I thought West Ham could
Ferguson
actually
missed a
score
sitter
it.
as well. Ferguson
Yeah,
missed
that
a
was the only
sitter.
point I was like, how the hell did he not score there? But yeah,
Yeah.
apart from that, we were really well drilled defensively. West Ham were having an off game, but to be honest, ever since then, really, they've lost so many games, haven't they? Same with Bournemouth. That we seem to beat teams, and then they literally just
they've been absolutely shocking to me.
Yeah, they must have had a breakdown in the changing rooms, and that's it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Andrew here says Agbadu's actually had better stats than Murillo at Forest.
Yeah, I saw that actually. Someone did a comparison. I did see that on Twitter. Which when you think people are saying that he's worth what 70, 80 million, Forest fans are saying, because I think he was linked to he was linked to Real Madrid, wasn't he? Summer. So it just shows really, because how much did we pay for Agba? Was it like 14, 15 million quid?
Something like that, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Bargain.
Cool. All right. So the next game is a biggie for me. I think when I looked at once Gary left, right? Gary left on Ipswich at home, right? And we lost that game 2-1, right? And we lost that game 2-1 convincingly, in my opinion. I think Ipswich are the better team and deserved the win in the end.
100%.
Right? We couldn't even hold a draw with him at this point. And then this is the most chalk and cheese performance. It's the most contrasted performance of the season for me. If you want to see, if everyone keeps saying, well, it's not just about the manager, a lot of what we've done this season is all about the manager. Like, he isn't playing a different squad other than a couple of signings that we've had. Like, this is like ridiculous being able to go there and honestly just take the piss. Like, we did just take the piss, to be fair. I mean, they scored early on, but you just never saw them holding a lead, did you?
No.
And I know we scored late on, but the belief of the players and the way we just absolutely just dominated them in that second half. I mean, look at this, like 15 shots just in the second half alone.
Yeah,
we were just absolutely peppering them. So it was always gonna end up with us winning, I think. And I mean, does anyone remember this game? I remember it being
I remember the pass back.
Oh God, yeah. Let's talk about that.
No one's really talked about why. I mean, I've seen things about it's a bit contentious because it's only a yellow card if it's a pass back, but he stopped the ball going in the goal. So
mate, it was bizarre, weren't it? That
should have been. I mean, I'm not a ref, but it's a bit. I don't know. Didn't feel like it was. Something went on a bit there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was fun to see, though. It's good to see that sort of stuff. You don't see much of it, do you?
No, it was just a really bizarre moment, wasn't it? That kind of no one really understood what to do, and then everyone was having a go at Agbadu for not scoring it. But bloody hell, they put every single bloke on the line.
And that Morsey came off the line. If you watch, he's off the line before he kicks it as well. So we had a slight advantage, but whatever.
Isn't the rule that it has to deflect off someone as well? You can't
just
go straight in.
It's indirect, isn't it? That's indirect.
Well, if he'd have scored it and he didn't hit anyone, it would have still been okay because he didn't touch the ball first, which is why he couldn't score really. Because as soon as the ball was played out to him, they just blocked it on the line. But I just remember, I remember us just looking a lot better than Ipswich, and I just remember at that point just thinking, we shouldn't be down here, man. Like, what the fuck was Gary O'Neill doing for us to be even in this situation, man? Like, I look back now, and I was looking at my old reviews the other day, and I was just thinking, how in the hell did he have these players not playing well? How did he not play Andre?
I know,
I
yeah.
remember him playing João Gomez and Andre, and he kept saying that they couldn't play together.
Yeah, I
He kept
remember.
saying that they've got
They're
too much.
perfect.
They're too similar in
They
characteristics.
complement each other so well, don't they? Andre has such a calm head,
Stupid.
and you know,
Yes.
it's just so good.
And all this without Cunha as well, because I remember when Cunha got injured under Gary O'Neill like last season, he couldn't make anything happen because he was so reliant on him being in the system. Whereas Vitor Pereira has just gone, well, it's all right. Do you know what I mean? He's fine. We'll make it work. He's just so much like he's got such more of a cool head, and I think that's really genuinely what saved us. He's found a system that works and he's stuck to it. He's stuck with the players that work in the system, and he's just doing the easy things well. Whereas Gary O'Neill was trying to throw too much constantly at different situations, and we just could never understand what team was going to play, how we were going to play, and everything.
This is the difference because isn't Vita just done his 600th game in charge of a football team? So
Yeah.
that's the difference, isn't it? You know, it's experience basically and knowing things. You know, going to the pub after the game to meet the fans. That's going to get you. That's going to get you in the fans' good books, especially a club like Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's going to get you into their. That's going to make you a legend, isn't it?
Well,
How many managers have ever done that?
Well, I was saying this to my missus. I mean, he's like a multi-millionaire, isn't he? So, like, you know, like he goes out there, and I think he's got I think he's got a couple of lads with him, but no, he hasn't got like security or anything like to stop anyone from doing anything dodgy. He just knows that the city love him, so they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Which
No.
I think more celebrities of different areas should do that.
It shows respect, doesn't it? It shows respect, and you know that you know the area. I think
Exactly.
a bit more
Yeah.
self-awareness.
Like we know we're not from the most posh area or whatever, but we know that we respect and we're proud of where we're from, because at the end of the day that's what you've got to be like. And I feel like Vitor gets that, and I feel like the only person we've had before that was Nuno.
Same energy, isn't it? Same energy.
You've got to just just trust and be there for the players and the fans, and he just gets it, man. But this game was absolutely huge. Anything else happening in this Ipswich game, or can we move on?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I just remember the Delap goal going in and thinking, Christ, he's going to be a handful for the rest of the game. But actually, the defence bossed it and kept him pretty much out of the game for the rest of it. It was just one bad moment where he scored.
It really was, wasn't it? It really was just one moment in the whole game, and he was a bit of a pain in the arse. But
he's a rat. He's an absolute rat. He was diving all over the place.
Oh
terrible.
God! Yeah,
Aguado was giving him some stick though, so that's good.
I remember saying how bad he was beaten, man. I remember that. This is a massive game as well. I mean,
this was.
We played Tottenham, who were already struggling. But like, I mean, I went into this game thinking we're going to win, which is absolutely ridiculous. We were still not flirting with relegation, but we still weren't mathematically safe. And we were just like, well, everyone's confident, so why shouldn't we be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The team's confident, the manager's confident. We're still in the same system. Everyone knows what they're doing. You know, a couple of changes here and there, but let's be honest. I mean, Cunha didn't even start in this game, and a lot of people were a bit shocked about that, weren't they, John?
Yeah, I think with this game as well, especially, it's one of those games where every single Wolves player performed amazing. And that's why the result was 4 goals, because everyone did their job. I remember the midfield just being amazing and absolutely bossing it against Tottenham's, because Tottenham at the time just was so low in confidence. Andre was just winning the balls back. Gomez was just passing them along. Nori was fantastic with his goal. And you could see as soon as Nori put that goal in, he was just buzzing for the game. He had so much more confidence. He was taking the ball on. He just looked like a new player. The only fault I can remember for the whole game is just, even though he had an amazing game, was when Semedo just turned off and let that one goal go in.
Right, yeah.
Really unlike him. I think he had too much confidence. I think he was trying to pull it back with his foot and try and do almost like a trick so he could run up the pitch with it, but he just mistimed it. But apart from that, everyone was fantastic.
But I think I think what you're saying there, like now you've said that, it's made me think slightly different about that situation because I do think he was carrying an injury as well because he didn't have a good game, and then the game after that, I think he came off.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was that. I think he was just like you say, he was really confident. He knew if he backheeled, he'd get the run on Tell. But he just didn't time it properly, and it's just unfortunate. But now you've said that, it makes me think. You know what? He was in position. He was just a little bit cocky, and I think after that, he was like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that." And ever since then, our defense has just been solid, really. So what happens in this game? We've got Aït-Nouri scoring a goal, which was a cracker.
Their goal.
Right at the start of the game, wasn't it? Like
It was,
literally
yeah.
right at the start of the game. Great goal. You know, they're still complaining about it because let's be honest, they're a toxic side they're going to. We end up getting the goal. We then get another goal because Spence own goal. And I think a lot of this is down to Munetsi. Because I think if Munetsi doesn't make that movement towards the goalkeeper, I think he sees Strand Larsen and goes, "Oh yeah, I've got that sound." But I think because both of them are running at him, he's unsure, isn't he? So
Menezes rattled him, man. Menezes rattled him right at the beginning of that game. Vicario was bricking it. Every time Menezes came towards him, he was panicking. And
Yeah.
the crowd were getting on him as well.
Yeah.
He didn't want any part of it at all.
How did Vicario get a 6.2, by the way?
I don't know.
That's got to be one of the worst goalkeeping performances I've ever seen. Like, literally, wasn't it Onana, he was getting absolute pelters?
Yeah.
Just before this game.
Before the game, I thought he was quite a good goalkeeper. So I was not expecting him to do it because I always thought, he's one of the goalkeepers that's actually pretty good. But then he was just absolute howler against Wolves.
Oh, man. It was bad, weren't it, man? And it was...
Munetsi, man. Munetsi rattled him and he made things happen. He ran at the keeper every time. Didn't give him any time to do stuff. And, Munetsi and Strand Larsen are big guys.
Yeah, that's the manager tactics, that is. You know what I mean? That is just tactics from the manager, and that's enough to even... unsettle a world-class goalkeeper because I think before then he was top.
Munetsi's just got a different style of play. We've never had a player like him. To be fair, we've never had a player that just runs around and just causes shit. Like we've never had that.
Yeah.
Then when we have 9 times out of 10 with a player like that, we always give them the ball, and he's not. Do you know what I mean? If we've had a player that runs really fast and gets in your face, we've always give them the ball and just let them do their thing, and then they can't do it because it's not part of their game. Adama Traore, for example. You know what I mean? If we've had a fast player, give him the ball, see what happens. You don't do that. Sometimes those players can put the fear of God in defenses when you're pressing, and that's where he's good. And that's what happened for this goal, wasn't it?
And he covers so much ground as well. Like the ball gets given away in their half, and he's back to get it back. He will run the whole length of the pitch fast as well.
He's scary, man. It's scary how much grass he's actually covered. It's ridiculous.
I saw some stats on it today. Like he runs like 10K or something a match. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure someone had him down that weekend against all the matches is the player that ran the most that particular weekend.
Mate, I couldn't even run 10 minutes, let alone 10K. Jesus Christ. John knows that.
Yeah.
Subby man, he's coming on. Yeah, go on, Dan, let's go. Injured 10 minutes later. Strand Larsen then gets a goal. He was scoring every game at this point, wasn't he? He scored 2 in the last one, and he just looked like a man in form. And it was a great goal, wasn't it? I remember just being like, yeah, that was the goal that we needed because Tell scored just before that.
Yeah,
and you're thinking 2-1. Ooh. That made it 3-1 straight after that, and then you're just thinking, bloody hell, like this is mental. They end up getting another goal, Richarlison, because let's be honest, he scores against Wolves, more than I've had Sunday dinners, and then Cunha comes on, and he ends up scoring, and you're just thinking, literally. Everyone's bingo card must have just been ticked at this point because everything that could happen in this game Spurs looking shocking in defence. Check. You know what I mean? Munetsi running everywhere. Our midfield being amazing. Agbadu being amazing.
Maddison diving.
diving.
Yeah.
Ait Nori was on fire in this game as well, wasn't he?
It's
He was absolutely incredible, wasn't he, in this game? I remember him talking to the camera after this game as well. I remember him being like the most shy bloke that you've ever even like seen in a Wolves shirt, but he was just absolutely grinning from ear to ear, wasn't he? So it's good to see just the confidence like coming out of these players that we've just never seen confidence in, really. And I think that's a big, again, we come back to the manager. He's put them in this system. He's give the belief to players like Bellegarde and Manetzi. He put Doherty in a position where Semedo was for some stupid reason. And like these little changes have just made a massive difference, haven't they?
Yeah.
The comment, I'll let you both talk about this actually. Well, what do you think about Strand Larsen and where do you think this form's come from? Dan, I'll let you start, John.
I think it's just literally because Manetzi is just giving him so much more service. He's right up against him. Also, as well, something that you don't always get with Cunha, we've seen this week now he's been linked to Manchester United that he doesn't do much running when he hasn't got the ball. Whereas Manetzi, he will run into positions and he will drag players out of position to allow Larsen to have more room. And I think that's what we didn't have before. Larsen was always pretty well marked, but Manetzi now drags people out of position and then allows Larsen to have a little bit extra time with the ball at his feet, where he can have a more specific shot. He can pick the corner. He's got more time to do so. Whereas beforehand, he was too well marked. So he's definitely Manetzi for me. And Victor just knows from all his experience. I can't remember how many games said he's done. But say 300 games. He just knows now exactly what to do to get a striker in top form.
And I think another thing as well is just the fact that the players behind him are a lot more confident, so he can sort of stay further up, can't he, and receive the ball at feet. Yeah. Which before he couldn't. He was too scared of everyone losing the ball in the midfield. He knows Andre and João Gomez are just going to mop up everything.
Yeah.
So he can just do the thing that he normally does, and then just let Munetzi move around, you know, to give him space. It just works really well. It's just it sounds stupid. It sounds like the most basic, generic way of playing football, but I don't think we've seen how Vitor wants us to play yet. I don't think we've seen that yet. Like, I genuinely think he's still playing to say, you know, I'm dealing with the players that we've already got. And I'm also, you know, waiting for the players that I need. And for now, I'm just going to play this way. I don't think we've actually seen the best of him yet. I don't. And the interesting thing is, while we talk about contrast in that one game, look at Ange and his stubbornness, and then look at Vitor. Like, if Vitor went to Spurs, I don't want him to, but if he did, he wouldn't do this. Like, if he saw something not work in one game, he'd go, "Nah, I'm not doing that again. Fuck me, what a joke." Do you know what I mean? And that's another thing I love about Vitor. He's not afraid to adapt, and then he's not afraid to say, "Look, it ain't the way I want to play." Do you know what I mean? It ain't.
Yeah.
But it works, and it gets us results.
It's the modern game now, isn't it? To change up, change to your opponent. We see it all the time. A great example is Brentford. Thomas Frank. He's always changing little things, tweaking it depending on the opposition, and it's how you become a manager for a long time in the Premier League. You've got to be willing to change with the time. You can't be old school.
We're about to talk about Man United, and I think the exact same thing of their manager as well. Like, he literally is so stubborn.
Yeah.
You can't do what he's trying to do like he did at he's literally trying to do what he did with Porto with United, and their team is absolutely shocking. It might be one of the worst in the Premier League, to be fair. It genuinely might be. Look at the state of this.
I know, it's terrible. I think what it is with him as well, he's so inexperienced because he's so young. He's only known one way to play football because I think that's all he's done. When he was in Portugal, he played that one system. He hadn't had enough experience to try other systems, so he knows everything about that particular system, and he hasn't got the players to do it. He should never really have come in to a team like Manchester United that didn't have the squad or the structure to do that. So you've got to question who picked him to be in charge, because they were never that kind of team that could play a back five and almost like counter-attacking football, wasn't it, at Sporting?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. They haven't got the players that they're able to play that sort of system. They haven't got reliable wing backs. I mean, Dorgu, yeah, okay, he's okay, but he's hot and cold, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no one there reliable enough for me to play the system that he wants to play. So that is ultimately, against Man United away, why I thought we were going to win, or at least get something from it, because United had to put out a weaker team. I mean, they were saying, apparently, United fans, oh, B-side Man United and all this. I could literally say that all of those players are worth more money than Wolves players. So think about what you're trying to say, because like even on the bench, you know what I mean? You've still got Bruno Fernandes, still got Mason Mount, still got Dalot. It's just ridiculous. Like how they came around and said that was ridiculous. The problem is you've got a manager that shouldn't be there yet because their team isn't ready. And the other thing is, you're Man United. You're the most. I can't stand Man United because they're so up their own arse and they haven't done anything for ages. They win an FA Cup and then they keep the manager that was losing all season. They're just clueless. But anyway, we go away to Man United, end up winning 1-0. What a game. It was absolutely boring. It bored the tits off me the first half. Jesus Christ. I mean, in my thing, I literally went, right, let's look at the stats. Yeah, first half, yeah, lovely. Second half, I went literally straight to the second half. Nothing happened. But talk me through, Daniel C., talk me through that Sarabia goal.
Do you mean the second only direct free kick scored at Old Trafford in the Premier League history? That one, yeah?
What?
Yeah, Danny Murphy was the only other player to do it in 2000.
I didn't know that.
No way.
Well, my completely legal stream dropped at that point.
Yeah.
So I missed it, but it was beautiful, wasn't it? I mean, Onana's a joke, but no keeper would have got to that. Not a chance. It was beautiful. It was the best thing that happened in that match. I mean, I don't know how Bruno Fernandes didn't score his attempt. He had like a sitter and he missed it. He sort of, I don't know, no idea. But yeah, it was.
They had a lot of chances. I'm not gonna lie, but they just never looked confident enough to actually score a goal in this game. They just didn't look confident.
It's mad. Amas seemed to be the best player in my opinion on that pitch. He was giving Semedo
he was great
all afternoon. But I don't know what's happened to Man United because honestly,
I mean, can you see them? Can you actually see them winning the Europa League?
Well, the thing is, though, right? Yeah, Cunha's going to go to Man United. Why would you go?
Why? I don't understand that.
It's too toxic, and the fans are too toxic as well. They'll be on his back all the time.
He thinks it's bad. He thinks it's bad here. Oh my god, mate!
Oh yeah, but he put the water on his legs from the grass. That means he's going to go. He smiled at a Man United fan, so he's going to. It's all rubbish. But it doesn't make sense. Go to Arsenal, go to Man City, go to somebody who's winning some stuff. Don't go to Man United. Stupid.
I don't get it at all.
No, we're going to talk about this more later, but I generally think a lot of this is actually agent talk. I think a lot of this on purpose to say, oh, he's getting close to Man United here. We looked at him. I don't know, Newcastle. We better make contact now because we saw today they've not even made contact with Wolves.
No,
all they've done is spoke to the agent and asked what his wages were going to be like.
This is rubbish. Yeah. This is what it's going to be now until August. It's going to be just this rubbish. I mean, my personal belief is, wouldn't you rather, a little quick poll here, wouldn't you rather become a club legend somewhere than go somewhere for some glory, some fleeting glory? Wouldn't you rather be somebody who's remembered at a club for like years and years to come?
Mate,
know.
look at the state of the players that have come through United and have come out worse.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so many players that have gone to United who have been like actual legends.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, bloody hell, if fair play, they're coming to the Premier League and whatever. And then they're absolutely dog shit. And they ruin their career. United actually genuinely ruin people's careers. They're
The thing
doing
is,
it
we're seeing it now.
24/7.
We're seeing it now all the time. Is they're not actually bad players, but as soon
Look
as
at
they go
Rashford.
to Manchester United, they become crap. And then look at Alanga at Nottingham
Sancho.
Forest.
Sancho,
Look at
Rashford.
a lot of them that have moved away and gone on loan. I think there's so much pressure. The fans, the public life, they can't just go down the road like Cunha can down Tottenham and get a cup of coffee. In Manchester, he won't be able to even have a normal life anymore. That's what. If I was him, I'd be going to a team. If I had to leave, obviously I'd stay. But if I had to leave, I'd go for someone like. I think Newcastle have been linked to him. I think Newcastle would be a good.
Yeah,
The fans are great, and I like the manager. I like the atmosphere. I think that would be a much better move, and I think they'll do a lot better than Man United over the next 5 years.
100%.
I think I don't want him to go to Forest, but I think under Nuno, I think he'd do well there as well. I just think he's going to United because, as a kid growing up, he obviously respected United, which is fair. Do you know what I mean? I get that. But at the same time, come on, man, you've got to look at the here and now. Like,
how long do you live off reputation? Reputation only lasts so long, doesn't it? Man United do anything in 20 years. You know what I mean?
Mate, honestly, it's a poison chalice. It really is a poison chalice. I can think of so many players that have gone there. They've just looked shit ever since. But anyway, so we win this game 1-0. It's a bit of a nothing game. Let's be honest. It is. It felt like a training game. I don't think this is why I actually said in my review. I don't think in that second half Wolves got out of second gear. No. I think we made it look like they were a better team than us. I don't think Wolves were panicking. I think they thought, well, they're never going to score. So why the fuck should we run around like idiots when we're winning a football match? I just don't. I honestly, I don't think at any point Wolves actually got out of second gear, which is so embarrassing for Man United. It's so embarrassing, man. You're at Old Trafford. It's a fucking sellout. 73,000 people attend a football match, and you can't even beat little old Wolves. We got the double over them, man.
They've lost 15 games. 15 games, Manchester United. That's ridiculous. I bet they haven't lost 15 games. There are seasons where they've gone without losing that many games. I bet there's been 5 seasons where they haven't lost 15 altogether.
Well, at one point, we lived in a world where either Tottenham or them could have got relegated. Look at Tottenham.
I think they still can. Not Man United, but I think Tottenham can.
I think they are mathematically safe. I saw someone on Facebook the other day that they are. And some people are going, "Why are we celebrating this?"
Tottenham are. Oh yeah, I think it's just West Ham, isn't it?
West Ham can get sucked in still.
They won't.
Only just though. I think Ipswich have to win every single game.
Well, you never know with Tottenham, do you? They could actually lose every game.
Mate, they are fucking bad. I mean, who's worse? Who is actually worse, Tottenham or United?
It's got to be Tottenham.
I think Tottenham are worse, but I think if a new manager came in, they could get Tottenham performing better because of the players, whereas United actually have trash. The players are trash.
I can't believe
the only thing I think is good about United is they've actually got a few good youth players coming through. That's the only good thing, but they're probably not experienced enough. But that's the only good thing going for United. And
they've had some pretty shitty injuries though. They've arguably had worse injuries than us this season.
United, yeah. Well, I think Tottenham's had probably one of the worst injuries in the whole league. At one point, didn't they have like 15 players injured?
Yeah, that's true.
Boo hoo.
But you look at their squad though, and you're just thinking, why the hell is Lindelof still in the Premier League? I can't remember one game where I've gone, yeah, he's a Premier League player.
They love keeping hold of them, don't they? Who was the one that was the centre back?
Shaw's still there?
Yeah, Shaw's still there. But who was the one that he was made a free agent and Phil someone?
Phil Jones.
Phil Jones, he was there. Yeah.
And he's like 48, is he, or something?
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. It's just hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we moan about Wolves players leaving and everything, but at least we have new blood in and some, players that can, try and become a bit of a name for themselves. There's still got players in here. They're like, I actually forgot they even had. Like Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
It's fucking laughable, man. It is actually laughable. But anyway, we win this game. We end up being 5 wins on a bounce, man. Let's talk about the fact that Wolves are the only side in the Premier League to have 5 wins on
Wow.
the bounce.
Feels
Mad.
good.
Even Liverpool have lost a football match. Like if okay, I'm gonna say it, all right? If Wolves replaced Gary O'Neill with Vitor Pereira after the Brentford game, where would Wolves be in the Premier League right now?
I reckon about 8th.
Yeah, 7th, 8th, I reckon.
We'd be flirting around the whole Bournemouth, Fulham, Brighton, Brentford like sort of area, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of zone where you're like a bit of uncertainty. Are we going to get Europe this season, or are we just going to be chilling in 9th or 10th? That's where I thought we'd be with a manager like that. Because
Yeah, 100%.
okay, Agbadu was a big signing and everything, but we still make that signing regardless. So it's like I just don't know. I don't know why we kept Gary in charge after that game because it was like suicide football, weren't it, man? And
Yeah.
the amount of things that happened after that was just not even worth talking about. It was just been an absolute shit show, hasn't it?
I think with Gary, we're trying too many new coaching methods about hybrid players and all this lot, whereas Victor, with all the experience, just went back to old school. A player doesn't have to do all these high. Like he was trying to get Nori to be left winger, left back, depending on the situation in the game, and it just after a while it just gets found out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right, cool. So we've covered all the games. Well done, lads. That was all right. That weren't too bad. We are now going to talk about the Leicester prediction. That's our next game. Leicester at home. Wolves could make it 6 wins. Wolves could make it 6 wins in a row. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Consider we'd never done 4 before.
Yeah.
And now we've done 5. Why can't we do 6?
We live in a world where Vardy is their top goal scorer and he scored 7 goals.
Oh.
We live in a world where this fixture is all over the shop. If you look down at where we've played them, there's so many they win, we win, they win, we win. But I've got to be honest, man. They just look done. They really genuinely just look done at this point. And I can't see it being anything but a Wolves win. I really can't. Like I just can't. Like, how can we lose to Leicester at this point? They are absolutely, categorically one of the worst teams for a reason. The only team that's worse than them is Southampton, and I think they clocked out ages ago. So that we have to win this football match. I mean, how can we not? We've got all of
at the moment that Southampton are probably better because didn't they get a draw against Palace, whereas Leicester's just defeat. I mean, over like the last 10.
Let's look at Leicester's form here. They have played some hard teams, to be fair. They have had a really hard run. They were lost to Liverpool due to Brighton. That's a good draw. They lost at Newcastle. They lost to City. They lost to United. I mean, they lost to United, man. 3-0 to United.
That's when you know you're rubbish.
They lost to Chelsea. That is hard, though. Look, they've had Chelsea, United, City, and then Newcastle, Brighton, and Liverpool. That just spells relegation, doesn't it, man? If you didn't get any points before then, you're basically knackered. And then what results are there? I mean, they beat Tottenham. They beat Tottenham. Is there any like losses that are just ridiculous?
Brentford beat them 4-0, didn't they? I think. On Newcastle as well. Look,
I mean, we beaten 3-0 and it was Vito's first game. They've just been out of it for the longest time, to be fair. I think we've been kind of all shitting ourselves as Wolves fans to a point where we haven't really been thinking too much. But I mean, their goals per match is 0.82.
Mad. When you think as well, like, it wasn't that long ago we put 4 past Tottenham. We we're averaging quite a few goals nowadays. So yeah, all I can see is a win here. Be very disappointed even if we got a draw. To be honest, I feel like it has to be 3 points. And 3 points, I think, would put us on 41. Who would have thought 41? And we've got a few games left as well.
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be awesome.
All right, so what do you think then? Do you think we will win this football match, Dancy?
I think we'll win. I watched Leicester versus Liverpool the other day, and they're absolute dog shit. The only dangerous player on their side is that Mavididi. I don't know if I say his name. Him, they're number 10. He was the only one who looked any kind of danger. I think to be honest, against Liverpool, they were harsh, have their goal disallowed. Because to me, the only reason they got disallowed is he looked at the keeper before he sort of bashed into him.
Yeah.
But either way, they were rubbish. Absolutely shocking.
So what were you thinking? What score?
3-0 Wolves.
3-0. Who's scoring?
Cunha, Strand Larson, and Minetzi. Let's give Minetzi one as well.
Oh, I'd love Minetzi to get a goal. Man.
Me too.
John, what you saying?
I'm going to say 2-0 to Wolves. And I think it will be Larson, and I think we'll get a midfield. I think someone like Gomez will score. He loves the odd goal. And I think this is the kind of game where he could probably do it.
You know what I'd love to score? Andre.
Yeah, Andre would be class. And Tomato, he never really scored. Do you remember when he was celebrating scoring and I think he went down to own goal in the end?
Here he is.
Yeah, I'd love Andre. I don't know how he celebrated getting mad, didn't he?
We didn't talk about that, did we?
Oh, no, we didn't. That was amazing.
He used to score the odd goal, didn't he, in Brazil? He hadn't even had one for us.
That was incredible, that was.
I've seen his shoot at training, though, and he doesn't look the best, to be fair. With the warming up, his shots aren't the best.
Yeah, but he's not what we bought him for, is it, to be honest?
No, not at all, no.
All you need is a tap-in, don't you, really? Like, if he's in the box for a corner or something.
I'm going to go mad here. I'm going to go 5-0.
We go 5-0, we'll go above Man United by 3 points and goal difference.
I'm going to go 5-0. I'm going to say a Strand Larson hat-trick.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be so good.
Class. I want Tomato to get one. He deserves a goal.
I'm going to go Minetzi and Andre as well. And it's just going to be an absolute cluster. In fact, it's going to be that bad that it's going to mimic when they beat us like 5-1 or something under Gary O'Neill. Oh no, was it who was that? Oh, it was Lopetegui, weren't it? Yeah. And we lost like 5-1 away at home. That was I took my nephew to that, and it was oh my god, it was just the most disgusting game ever. That was. But yeah, I just can see us plummeting them. I honestly can. Like,
yeah,
they have no reason to even try. Like, what are they trying for?
Oh, just a note: Palace are losing to Arsenal currently, so they're still within reaching distance.
Oh shit!
44 points.
That's mad. To be honest, if we get 41 points, I know. Like we can just, I don't know who would be above that. Would it be Palace and then there's a gap, isn't there, between Palace and is it Brentford or Palace and Brighton?
It's not as much as you think because Brentford are 46, Brighton are 48. So they're all we've made that jump. We're making that jump at the moment, aren't we? So which is really good.
Which is mad, and you don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but obviously there's a chance that top 10 can get Europe.
Mathematically, we can get Europe.
This is the interesting comment actually. Someone said we'll look at Leicester a couple of seasons back when they beat Wolves, and Leicester still went down. So all I can say is do not underestimate Leicester because they have nothing to lose. Yeah, that's true. Actually, when the pressure is on Wolves, a lot of the time we do tend to be a little bit shit. But I just don't see it under Vitor Pereira. I just don't. I see too much confidence, whereas I don't think we've had that before.
He gets into the players as well. He tells them, when you've seen him shouting on touch line. He's not their mate like Gary was. He will tell them and he'll call them out when they're not doing what they should do. And that little guy, that Miguel guy, he's fantastic. He's I don't know. He's just.
So let's look at the possibilities now of where Wolves could actually end up. So at the moment, we are 15th. When he took over Vitor, we were 19th, where Leicester is now. He has absolutely transformed this football club, like genuinely, to a point that we could actually. Where could we actually finish? We've got the same equal points to Everton and Man United. So we could finish 13th at this point. We could even finish 12th. Because
how many games left? There's 5 games left, and you can get 15 points, can't we?
Yeah.
So could we climb
10, 53? 53?
We could get 53 points, but obviously that means the other teams would have to lose all the games.
We'd have to have like all these teams lose, which
is possible.
Which is possible, but you get like Brighton that could Brentford, that could maybe get like 1 win and the rest draws or something.
If we this is a hot topic here, ready? A hot claim, a hot take, if you will. If we ended at the top, say 8th this season, I would get a Vitor Pereira tattoo
on the bum cheek,
somewhere, yeah. Because I mean, that is like he wouldn't stay at Wolves if that happened. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, no.
That's another thing. We don't want that to happen in a way, because if that does happen, he's gone. He will go somewhere else, because there is no fucking way in hell someone. I reckon Spurs would have him. I reckon a team like that would have him if that happened, because it's just not even. Has that even ever happened? A team looking at relegation ends up in a spot where they could get potential.
Don't know. Here's a question. This might be a really stupid question, right? And I'm not the most intelligent of people when it comes to football.
Go on.
How are Spurs where they are with a positive goal difference? I don't understand that. How has that happened? Is it they had loads of big wins and not the losses have been quite small? Is that
they've lost by small margins, basically? Okay. A lot of the
that's
time.
really weird. Plus 10 goal difference and you're 16th.
Yeah,
it's not about. It's because they leak goals, though, isn't it? Because their line is so high.
Yeah, but then you'd think that'd be higher, wouldn't you? You'd think it'd be lower. A goal difference would be negative if they're leaking goals.
Yeah, but they're still scoring goals as well.
It's weird. Sorry.
You think about it, they lost the game against us, but still scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
They lost 4 against us, but they still scored 2. So they're only on -2 from that game.
It's a bit like Gary O'Neill tactics, isn't it?
Well, it is. It literally is. That's how Gary O'Neill was playing. But he was playing. We was playing like that without a high line. So we were playing gung ho without having a high line. So like literally, your defense was all the way at the back, shitting themselves because nothing was in front of him in the midfield. That's literally how we played every game. And I was saying for the longest time, if you're going to do that, you need 3 in the midfield, and he just never fucking did it. And then every time he did, he'd never play Andre. And I'd still to this day don't get how you don't play Andre in that system, in any system. He's literally, you could play him on his own. You could play him on his own against some teams. Not even joking. But yeah, I mean, we are looking at the possibility of Wolves finishing at some ridiculous. I mean, you look at the table. The only teams that aren't reachable now is Villa.
Yeah, mathematically, yeah.
Which is just absolutely ridiculous. But like Neil's saying, and like I've just said, genuinely, he would leave. If he did something like that, that doesn't get unrecognised. It's like Nuno. Nuno got taken by us because he didn't get another opportunity. But they looked at how he managed the Premier League in the past before COVID, and it was 2 7th place finishes with the Wolves team. So he was always going to go back to the Premier League at some point. That's what they do. They look at what teams have done in the past in the same division. Right, shall we go to questions?
Or more big.
You got some questions, Jono?
Yeah, I can't actually get onto him on here because it's on my phone. Can anyone get onto the?
Yeah, I've got them. I've got them here if you want. Shall I
Gosh.
read the questions out?
Yeah, read them out. This is just from random people for the public. I just asked people what they wanted to have discussed, and people all around the world actually commented.
And while you're doing that, I'll go through our wonderful chat, and I'll see if we've missed anything. Because unfortunately, guys, this is a new thing. We've never used this before. So I haven't been ignoring you. I have been looking at you the whole time. But I keep getting confused on what button to push to actually show you the chat. So I found the chat now. So you carry on.
Okay. Question 1. Shall Chiquinho get reintegrated into the squad this summer? If not, what are the club's plans on him?
To be honest, I've been following him, and he's on loan at the moment at Mallorca. And I don't know if it's more the fact that he's been obviously badly injured and he's come back from that, but they just don't fancy him, even off the bench. So if you think about that, where they are in the table, it's La Liga, and he can't even get off the bench. I think he's just not recovered the way we would have expected from his injury, because I think it was a very serious injury, wasn't it, in pre-season?
Yeah.
I think he's still got a little bit longer left on his contract. I think they'll probably, because he didn't cost much, did he? I think they'll probably just loan him out somewhere else for a year and just pray that he can somehow get back to where he was. But yeah, I think either sell or they'll loan him out for a year. But I think he'll probably be another loan for a year.
He's not the sort of caliber player we want, is he, at the moment, I suppose, as he is.
Yeah, he's a proper winger, isn't he? And I just can't see Victor playing that kind of player. So I reckon, yeah, probably loan him out for another year somewhere where maybe they shoot more winger play, and probably Portugal. I reckon he'll probably get, because he was really good in the Portuguese league, wasn't he? So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like a loan.
I'd like to see Chiquinho work on his defensive skills and maybe become a bit of a good wing back. That's what I'd like to see, because I think he's got the ability to get up and down the pitch.
He's quite aggressive as well, isn't he?
We saw that against Chelsea. He came on as a wing back, didn't he?
Cool. Next
question 2. We know Wolves have got a self-sustaining model, but what is the board's plan for the next 5 to 10 years? What ambitions do they have?
I think actually you're going to see a little bit of a shift. We've seen some different personnel come in. We've seen certain personnel sort of be a little bit more ignored. And I think it's going to be a little bit more similar to what it was under Nuno in the first season, where it was a bit like we're going to get given players that want to prove themselves for a decent fee. They will move on, but it'll get us further up the table. That's essentially where we're going to be. We're not going to be buying players, who no one's ever heard of, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I think we're going to try and get the players that,
before they're
shouldn't
famous.
really necessarily play for Wolves for a long time. I think that's what's going to happen. But I think the model will change. I feel like they've got to start relying on our youth a lot more. That needs a big upgrade, in my opinion. We haven't seen anyone really come out of there, really. And I think another thing as well, I think they just need to be a little bit more aware of the players that we do have, and are they right for our system under Vitor? And if they're not, move them on. Do you know what I mean? Why keep them? There's no point. That you're just wasting time. If I was Wolves now, I'd say, right, we've seen a system that works. We've got a manager that works with that system, and the players that he has had given to him, he's made them better. So, in my opinion, I'd just give Vitor the money and just let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Instead of just relying on our scouting network all the time, which, let's be honest, is very hit and miss. I just let Vitor just have full reign. What's the worst that can happen? We're going to keep most of the players that we've got, pretty much. We've got more money to play with Cunha leaving, so I say we just go balls to the wall and just give the manager, what he deserves. What do you say, John?
Yeah, I think I can understand why they want to do the self-sustainability model, because it's worked well with other teams like Brighton and stuff like that. And I think also some fans want us to go out and spend massive money on big players, and we've done that before. And that's where you get egos and stuff that come into the changing room. And I think what they're doing at the moment, from what my understanding is, they're looking at players really between the 20 million euros to 30 million euros, which is around 16 to 24 million, which is probably the most what we saw when we signed Larson. So I think they're the kind of players that I think we need in the club. I think they're the kind of players that haven't got a massive price tag on their heads. They're still quite humble, and they can really come in and make a difference in the changing room. They've still got a bit of character to them. When they start being really high value players, you start seeing a little bit of Cunha. He's obviously came 50 million euros, and he's got so much attitude really in the background. I like this idea of bringing young, hungry players in, like you've got Agba that's come in and really changed everything, hungry to play. But I think it can work. I think I'm especially this summer. If you think that we're going to raise 20 million from Fabio euros, we're going to get 70 million euros from Cunha, and we're going to make nearly 10 million euros in just add-ons from Morgan Gibbs-White. So we're going to make 100 million from just selling one first-team player, a fringe player, and some add-ons. So that's fine. I think for me, £100 million is the self-sustainability model there has worked, and that money, if you allow him, the manager, to spend, doesn't even really have to be all of it. If he could spend 80% of that or 70% of that, £70 million, I think under him, under Hobbs, can get some really great players in. So I can understand why they're doing it, and I think at the moment, I was really angry with Fosun, but I think they've made some right decisions. That they backed him in January. They brought in, for me, the best manager we've seen since Nuno. So I haven't got too many bad things at this moment to say about Fosun, because I think they have made some good decisions in the last 6 months.
Nice. North said in the comments, what's this about? We get 60 million from Man U paid in installments. About the Cunha deal, essentially, with installments. Do you know any more about that, John?
Yeah, so basically what it is the actual release clause is 70 million euros, which is 62.5 million pounds. There's an initial instalment which is quite big. We don't know exactly what it will be, but say for example it's 40 million, and then the rest of it will be in small installments. So it's one lump sum that's quite large, and then they will allow a certain amount that's left over to be paid in installments. And that's where the problem is with Manchester United. They want to pay all of it in small installments. They don't want that one big lump sum. They haven't got the money. They're not being given the money from their hierarchy because of PSR. They haven't got enough money. They have to sell players to get that. I suppose the only thing that's going well for Man United is that they can't actually do the release clause until the transfer window opens, which I think is June. So they've got a bit of time here to raise some money. Obviously, the release clause has been activation clause for Sancho has been met by Chelsea, so there's money coming in there. They're hoping Rashford gets sold. They're hoping that someone snaps up Anthony, because he's actually done pretty well, to be fair, which I can't believe I'm saying, at Betis. So they're hoping that, but at the end of the day, if they haven't got the money now, just let Newcastle come in and speak to the player who has got the money. I don't think we just allow Man United just to basically say, wait for us, this is our terms. If they haven't got the money, they need to move on to a different club. That's my opinion. But yeah,
I think it'd be great as well at Newcastle.
I think it'd be class at Newcastle. And from what we've been told by Sky Sports, there's 5 Premier League clubs that like him and want to be in contact and find out more about the wages and everything about it. And there's also a club in Saudi Arabia. So there's 6 clubs that like him. Yeah, everyone's throwing the eggs in one basket here for Man United, who haven't got the money. They don't want to pay this one big lump instalment. They want to pay little instalments, like Liverpool did with Jota, which is a load of crap. Because if we want the money for this transfer window, we will have to get like a loan against those instalments, and we'll have to pay interest on that. So it's rubbish, really. So they need to move on from Man United.
Neil's asking about new stadiums. From everything I've heard so far, obviously I can't spoil too much, but we are definitely getting a new paint job, which is nice. But I think it's a bit more of a. It sounds ridiculous, this does, but from what I've been told, it's a lot better. The paint is
better paint.
It's better paint.
Dulux.
It's a nicer paint. But yeah, nothing on stadium. For the longest time, just before COVID, they were thinking about sorting out all of the Steve Ball. So if we are going to do anything stadium-wise, I mean, that probably will be the next thing that they do. But it won't be for a good long time now, to be fair. I do think it's still there. I don't think they've completely forgot about it. But it's not going to be a thing until we start getting some decent campaigns under our belt, to be fair. Sorry, carry on, Dan. What else have we got?
What do you think the plan is with the loanees?
Okay. So we know that Hugo Bueno is the number one target for Bournemouth if they sell their left back, who we saw today from Ben Jacobs, Liverpool, leading the race. There isn't a release clause, but apparently a £40 million offer to Bournemouth will sell their left back. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Begins with K. I can't remember his name. But anyway, yeah, Bournemouth want Hugo Bueno to replace him. They want him. And at the moment, Wolves have said that they want Hugo Bueno to come back in the summer, to have pre-season under Victor, and hopefully be a part of the squad. Will he be a backup to Ignori, or will he maybe be played? Because he is slightly a different profile to Ignori. He's a little bit better at whipping a ball in, which we've seen on loan. So maybe it'll be like one game Ignori plays, he'll play the other, blah, blah, blah. But I think a club now in the Premier League needs two good left backs and two good right backs to have competition in each position. So I think, as I say, he'll go back to Wolves. Who else? Fabio Silva, he's going to be most likely sold. Everyone's saying that he's got a 1 year left on his contract, which is technically true, but we have got one extra option on top of that. So if there is a problem and he doesn't get sold in the summer, we can activate that clause, and we will have, because obviously if we don't, then he can speak to other clubs when he goes down to 6 months. So we would probably activate that extra year on his contract just to keep his market value. But yeah, at the moment, there's a number of clubs that like Fabio, Frankfurt like him, Wolfsburg like him. They've already held talks, so it looks very serious. And at the moment, we all know that Frankfurt are looking at selling their striker for around £80 million. Which is, they want 100 million for Hugo. I'm probably going to butcher his surname. Is it Nketi? So they're looking at Fabio Silva. So yeah, it's around 20 million euros, 25 million euros. Wolves want for Fabio, and I generally think someone will pay that. He's had 10 goals, he's had 5 assists, and he's only 22. So they'll probably put a massive release clause in place there. Not release clause, sorry, sell-on clause. So with him being so young, we'll get 10, 15, maybe even 20% of future profit, which if he does well, might be we might even break even on him. And we've also had loan fees. Every club that he's been to on loan have paid a loan fee, which a lot of people forget. I heard somewhere we've raised nearly 10 million euros in just loan fees. So, do you know what I mean? With a sell-on clause in the future, we'll probably actually make our money back on Fabio, maybe even a profit. Who else is on loan? We've already talked about the winger at Mallorca, Chiquinho.
Whoever.
We've got Hoover, who's in the French league that everyone's forgotten about. Even I forgot about him. He is he's doing really well. He's actually doing really well. He's playing as a proper right wing back. He's had some impressive games against PSG, Lyon, Agba's previous club. He's actually done really well. He's had a really positive loan spell, and he's pretty much playing every game. And I think he'll probably come back and someone will have a look at him. people mentioning Sasa. To be honest, he's one player where we've heard like articles from like John Percy about players that are likely to be sold. We hear journalists Nathan Judah, Liam Keane talk about it. Everyone doesn't mention Sasa's name, and the fact that you keep on seeing him in the changing rooms when we win and he's celebrating makes me wonder if maybe he's going to have a little look at him in pre-season.
I think so.
I think he could be a good backup.
We haven't got that many as nines. We've literally got one 9 at the moment. So
yeah. And he's a really good person. He's really happy. He's celebrating in the changing rooms. He's always the first person in the videos to go, "Hello, my name is Sasa." To everyone.
I actually think he works better in this system as well, you know.
Yeah, I think so as well. And he's one of these players that he's actually pretty good with his feet. He's not one of these tall people where you just got to put it in the air and even though he can head it, he's actually pretty good with his feet. It costs so much money to bring a striker, and it'd be foolish not to have a look at him, maybe be a backup, because we know Strand Larsen can't play all season. If he does, he can get injured. He's someone that can come on and change a game, especially if we're looking at bringing people like Hugo Bueno back into the side who can cross a ball in. He's good at headering. We did that against Everton. We brought him on, whipped the balls in. Last season, he scored. Yeah, is anyone else I forgot on loan? There is a few names there, isn't there?
That you've said are the ones on this list.
Okay. All right. What's the next question?
Cameron says, aren't we a little light on homegrown players?
Yeah, we are a little bit light on him, but Hugo Brenner's homegrown if he comes back, which is really good. What else? No, it is a really good point, because I was looking at how many people were in the squad, and I think that is maybe one reason why Semedo might be going, because believe it or not, Lima is going to be classed as homegrown because he joined the club. He will be completing 3 full seasons for Wolves before his 21st birthday. So he is going to be a future homegrown player, which is really smart business. And I think a lot of people forget that. So when Semedo goes, we're going to bring him in eventually. And so, yeah. And when Doherty's only got 12 months left in his contract. So when he goes to bring someone in, we need to have a look at maybe another homegrown player. What's interesting as well is, because I actually asked when I was at the Wolves charity event, I was speaking to Matt Hobbs, and he said that who was the young lad that we bought, the centre back who he hasn't played for us, Bastian.
Me up in you.
Yeah, he is going to be. He's going to be classed as homegrown. I couldn't quite work out how he would, but no, Matt Hobbs said to me that there's some loophole and he's going to eventually be classed as homegrown. So they've obviously done the research and they know all about it. And I think maybe the same with maybe Hoover, because I think he played so many years for Liverpool Academy before his 21st birthday. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely a good point, and it makes you wonder going forward. People in the summer, people are going to have to go and free up some spaces for homegrown. Because at the moment we haven't even been able to register Sasa, remember, because we haven't got enough homegrown players, which is very worrying actually. But yeah, Sarabia going will help with that. And who else should be going? Yeah, we know Sarabia is going to go. There's potential for Semedo to go, but yeah.
Cool.
Next. Name one realistic forward we could sign in the summer.
I'll let you two speak first, because I've done a lot of speaking, but I will give you one after.
I just cheated and looked at some names.
You should have said anything.
No.
Oh, no. All right, well, forget that just happened.
Yeah.
Dan, have you got any?
Oh yeah, no. From my extensive knowledge of available strikers who are doing really well at the moment in Brazil, I think Felipe from the club that João Gomes came from. Felipe. Philip P.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Tell us anything about him, Dan? Or...
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. Sorted.
Brazilian. Although the club, well, obviously we had the dealings about João Gomes, so how popular that would be with them, because we kind of mess him up. Well, we didn't mess him around, but there was all that around with Leon and stuff, wasn't there? So
Oh God, that was a thing, wasn't it? Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so maybe we won't do business with them. So actually, it's probably not a great suggestion. But I don't know.
I think this is a good shout. Yuri Alberto. I think Neil's talking about Yuri Alberto. I think he looks all right, to be fair, and I think he'd be keen on a move to a club like Wolves. But I
He's had a
feel
good
like,
season, to be fair.
yeah, I'm not sure really. Like the thing is at the moment is it's a weird season next season because like we've got a good system and we've got a good team. It's just how many of these players are going to stay, and if is our manager going to get, you know,
Is he going to stay?
is he going to get the support as well? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he doesn't get the support, then I could see us struggling again. It's all down to our ownership again. And I mean, I've seen a load of comments. Don't think I don't look over there. You guys talking about Jeff Shee. I mean, let's be honest. He's not my fan still. I'm not a fan of him still. I really am not. Like at all. Like I've got little links in with the club and everything. And I'll tell you how it is. I'm not gonna just be like, oh, I better be careful what I say. No, I still don't like him. I don't like him as a human being. I don't like how he deals with business. I don't like how stubborn he is. He's still a very spiky character that I don't think deserves to be at Wolves anymore. I just don't think he does. I think Fosun, that's a different story. Fosun have shown they could still put their money in the pocket and help us when we need it. They did that. You know, they're good enough to, you know, do the good things of getting our club around and everything, which we still need. We still need brand recognition and everything. But I just think we just need a new someone in charge, or he does like all of the big picture stuff, and we just get a CEO who knows a bit more about football. And I do think that would change a lot. I really do. I still think that it doesn't matter what manager we've got, no matter anything. If he just keeps being the way he's being, it's going one way, and it needs to change. And I'm hoping it does soon. I know that they had a lot of meetings, Jeff Shee and Fosun, a lot of meetings, and they don't come over for nothing. And when they did come over, we lost quite dramatically, if I remember right. So I do think things will change. Do I think it's going to be a drastic change that's going to happen next season? Probably not. But I do think things will change eventually. I do. I think push will come to shove, and I think he'll be given one more season, I reckon. Because I do think it was his idea for the whole Sudo thing, and that has done really well, in fairness. It's made us quite a lot of money. And credit where it's due, a lot of it has gone into the club. It's not all just stayed into Fosun Sports, which we thought it would do. A lot of it has gone into the club and started helping things like the women's football team and things like that. So fair play for spending the money in the right areas. So I still think we're doing some right things, but I still think we need a new CEO there, in my opinion. I just don't think he's willing to change a lot. Do you know what I mean? If it was up to him next season, the price would go up again. That's the kind of bloke we've still got in charge. It would literally have gone up again next season if it was up to him. So that's all I'm going to say about Jeff. Does anyone else want to say anything?
Nope.
Yeah, well, I was gonna, not about Jeff, but about the question about who would like to sign. So he's
yes.
He's not sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, so he's obviously said one realistic signing for a forward, but I want to give one realistic signing for a forward and one realistic signing for outside of the forward position. And that was if Semedo does go, hopefully he doesn't. We've seen rumours that he might be signing a contract extension. But I would look at Lamptey from Brighton, who's free in 3 months' time. He's 24. He's homegrown. He can play as a right wing back or a left wing back, and he's free. So I think we should definitely looking at him with the experience he's had, and it solves the homegrown problem. So I'd be definitely look at him. And then what I would say is forward wise, that's a difficult one because obviously I'm looking at someone to replace Cunha. someone that can play more as like a number 10, maybe left winger, right winger, someone that can play across the front three. So really tough decision. I like Baturina at Zagreb, and I like Mohamed Amora at Wolfsburg.
Oh, yeah.
But I think for me, we've got to be ambitious. I think the money we're getting from Cunha, we've got to go for a big player. I would go for Ryan Shirtsky at Lyon, who scored the last-minute goal for Lyon, but they did lose the game. He's 21 years old.
Vitor's worked with him already, as well.
Yeah, he has. He's just got into the final, just going into the final 12 months of his contract. He will have a release clause that's activated only when he goes into the final 12 months, which is, I think, like 2 months' time. He will have a release clause of 29 million euros, which is 24 million quid. He scored 10 goals and 18 assists this season. And he is a great player, playing for France under 21s, banging the goals in, can play as a number 10, can play as a left winger, can play as a right winger. And I think a move from Lyon to Wolves is about right. I think maybe a step up to go like Chelsea or United is too much for him. I think we can really sell that model of using Wolves as a bit of a stepping stone, come in for 2-3 years, maybe 4, still so young, and then move your way on. Look at Cunha, look at Neto, look at Jota. I think we could really sell that, and I'm pretty sure Mendes he's kind of like he's with his agency and stuff. So I just think he'd be a class player. 28 goal contributions. I think we've got to sign someone big when Cunha goes.
Talking about Mendes there. We are definitely in bed with Mendes a lot more, from what I've been told. We are going to be using him a lot more, to be fair. And I'm happy about it, to be honest, because we were really embarrassing when it came to agents last season. Like, it was getting to a point where people that I knew were just losing it. They were just losing faith in the whole thing. Like, because we were getting to a point where we just about get him on a plane to come to do something. And then the agents were just like, they would either be talked to like shit or they wouldn't be talked to at all. And it was just like, that's like the most easy thing ever. All you gotta do is make him a tea and sit him in a corner. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. Like, and I think with George Mendes there, he will be a little bit more of a bridge to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's very good at talking to various agents and everything. And that's probably why we've got the likes of like Martinho, Patricio.
Yeah. The whole reason we got into Europe before, is because of Mendes. The players we got, we would never have had Neves, we would never have had Jota, we'd never have got Raul.
You wouldn't have had Nuno.
Yeah. It's I think sometimes we're too quick to criticise some of the bad transfers, but even looking back, Guedes didn't work out, but for example, he was still a good player at the time. He was doing so well at Valencia. He was banging the goals in. It just didn't work out, and it happens with you look at West Ham. How many players have they sold in the summer? Loads of them have failed. Whereas really with Wolves, it's like 80% of the signings work. You just get the odd 20% that doesn't. But like Fabio Silva, we've just said we might even make a profit on him. If we can get 20-30 million, the money we've made from loan fees, they've all covered his wages, and then we're going to put on maybe a 15-20% sell-on clause. He's 22. If he does a good 2-3 seasons, he could probably go for 60-70 million, 80 million, and we've got 20% on that.
It's true.
So yeah, I don't think Fosun have been anywhere near as bad as some of the signings from other clubs. Like
I don't think it's Fosun that's the problem. I keep saying this. It's not Fosun that's the problem. It's Jeff.
Yeah,
and it's his decisions around the club. Like Fosun aren't a problem. They're still giving us cash and everything, but it's Jeff at the helm of it that's the problem. And if that can be sorted, then I don't see why, we can start to look more positive like we did under Nuno in the first season.
Yeah. I think with Jeff as well, I think if we give Victor, the manager, a bit more say on the transfers as well, like you wouldn't imagine someone like him signing off someone like Guedes, because you would probably have a conversation with him. Whereas I think like beforehand, it was more behind the scenes. We'll make a decision of who you're getting in. At the time, it was Bruno Lage, wasn't it? And it was like, oh, we're getting Guedes in, you're having him. Whereas before, I think he's in a position with how many games he's won to have a real say. probably pick up the phone, speak to the player. I think he probably did with Menezes. I wouldn't be surprised if he picked Menezes. He had a conversation with him. So yeah, I think going forward, I think we've got a look like a bright summer. I think we'll make some good signings.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
And I think we can have a good. I think we'll have a decent budget as well with the money from Cunha.
On the topic of signings and transfers, we may or may not be having a little bit of a transfer special with Ben Jacobs, John.
Yeah, so we've just reached 100,000 followers, and we thought we'd do something a bit special. So we've reached out, 100,000 on all platforms: Facebook, Insta, Twitter. So we have decided to do something a bit special.
Don't forget YouTube.
Don't forget YouTube. So we have reached out to Ben because we want him to come on and speak a little bit more about the Cunha deal. He knows loads about the Cunha's deal. He's already tweeted about it today. He knows quite a lot about the interest in Germany for Fabio. So yeah, he'll know quite a lot. Yeah. He knows quite a lot about all transfer windows, and he's really good with all the Saudi news. So he'll know about any players that are of interest to any of the Saudi clubs, anything like that. So yeah, it will be definitely a good podcast, and hopefully it could be as soon as next week. So yeah, we'll let you guys know all about it. It's penciled in for next week. We're going to double check that he's still able to do it, but yeah, hopefully next week we'll get that podcast all done.
Nice. But yeah, 100,000. So thank you, everybody. I think we had about 600 people in here all together today, which is really, really good. Thank you for all your support. Thanks for all your likes and everything. Thanks for the support over the course of the season. Sorry, on YouTube, it hasn't been constant and consistent, but as you can see, I'm in a different place at the moment. This is my new house. So it's been a bit of a transition period, really. I didn't want to start doing YouTube stuff and it just being a bit, crap. Basically, I wanted to make sure the consistency and the quality stayed as good as it has. And from now on, it'll be fine. So that's really good news as well. YouTube's doing really well. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on X. We've got our new X back as well, which I don't know if you've noticed that already, but we are back with our new X. And just want to say a few things about that, actually. A lot of people have been commenting saying, like, why did it get cancelled and everything? We actually still have no idea. And for like 6 months, we've been literally trying to find out. And it's just been an absolute ball ache. So we made a new one thinking it would never come back. And then this morning they said that it was coming back. Thanks to this boy down here. getting the big lads involved. What a legend. And that's just meant that essentially, we've got that back, which is great. And so yeah, just thanks everyone. Like 100,000 across all platforms is ridiculous, and hopefully it keeps going now. And yeah, cool. By the way, a little bit of an advertisement for 580 people watching, but we are looking for an extra face on YouTube. So if you think, oh, that could be a bit of me getting on and talking shit about Wolves, then feel free to contact us on various social media, and we'll see if your face fits and everything. But yeah, it's been an absolute joy. We've gone through all the games. We've gone through the Leicester prediction, and we've answered a bunch of questions. I think that's everything, guys. So anything else you want to add?
No, we'll keep you guys updated on the next podcast with Ben, and we'll give you plenty of time to get your questions in. I'm sure you'll have loads of transfer questions for the summer.
Nice one. Dan, anything else?
No, just looking forward to Saturday. Smashing Leicester. That'd be a nice.
Dan, if we got 8th, would you shave your beard?
No.
No. What would it take?
I don't know, because I've been about 10 years now. I've grown my beard. And
what about Wolves winning the FA Cup?
I love Wolves. I love them so much, but I couldn't. 10 years. And then I'd always be the guy that'd be like, I used to have a big beard like you. Yeah, but I shaved it off. No, people would know I was.
I shave mine all the time now. I can't cope.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, look,
It's ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous. It's incredible. It's actually amazing. Beard envy all the time for you. But
I get people stopping me, people like sticking their head out of car windows and stuff. Like most days, talking to me about it, and so I wouldn't. I'd get a tattoo, easy, but not a beard. No, sorry.
A tattoo, that's enough. I'd get a tattoo as well.
Yeah,
I'd definitely get a tattoo. But yeah, let us know. What you think about the whole getting another face involved. Now it's like 580 odd people watching. There's going to be someone out there thinking, "Reckon I could do that." I'm being serious. Literally, just let us know because we're after one more person. So let us know.
You don't have to have a hat.
Yeah, you got to have a hat and a beard.
No, don't have to. It's fine.
Only don't have a hat. Oh, okay, fair.
No.
All right. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next one. So yeah, see you later.